right, so today we're going deep on DDL, DML, and DCL.
The core of SQL, really.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's surprising how many people work with SQL, don't really understand these three.
Yeah, it's like the foundation.
Yeah, like once you get these three, it's like everything else kind of makes sense.
Yeah, and so we looked at a couple of different resources just to make sure we're giving you the most complete picture of how these things work.
I swear, for sure.
And we'll kind of go through.
And what's so cool is it's kind of like, I always use the analogy of building a house.
Okay, yeah.
So if you think of like, you're not just going to like start throwing bricks around, you're going to have a blueprint, right?
Right.
So DDL is like the blueprint.
It's data definition language, yeah.
And that's where you're defining, okay, like how many rooms are we going to have? What are those rooms going to be used for? And even setting some constraints.
Yeah, like rules about what can go in those rooms.
Totally.
So it's like if we're building a database for, let's say, a library, we might say, okay, we need a table for books.
Right.
And then within that books table, what are the different pieces of information we need about each book?
Like title, author,
publication date, genre, all that stuff.
ISBN, stuff like that.
And we can even set constraints to say, okay, the publication date cannot be in the future, or every book has to have a unique ISBN.
Right.
So that's all DDL.
Yeah, that's all about like setting up the structure, right?
Exactly.
That's the ground rules, the foundation.
And then, so now we've got our structure all built out, but it's empty.
Right.
So then that's where DML comes in.
Yeah, data manipulation language.
It's like, okay, now we can start putting the furniture in.
Oh.
We can decorate.
Right, you bring it to life.
We bring it to life.
Exactly.
So in our library example, this is where we would add new books into the table.
Right.
We could update information about a book.
Yep. Like if the
publication date changed or something.
Right.
Or if there was a typo in the title.
Yeah, if you spelled the author's name wrong or something.
Exactly.
That all falls under DML.
And here's a really big difference, I think, between DDL and DML. With DDL, it's like if you built a wall in the wrong spot.
Oh, yeah.
You can't just like easily,
tear it down.
Yeah. But with DML, if you paint a room the wrong color,
you can repaint it.
You can just repaint it.
Yeah.
So DDL changes are kind of like permanent and they happen immediately.
Yeah, they're immediately applied.
Whereas DML,
they're like auto commit.
You can roll them back.
You can be like, oh, I didn't like that. Let's undo that.
Exactly.
So that's a really key difference, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So then.
Okay. So we built the house.
Yeah.
We put in the furniture.
Yeah.
Everything's looking nice.
Yeah.
Do we want to just leave the doors wide open for anybody to walk in?
Oh, no, you need some security, right?
We need some security.
That's where DCL comes in.
Exactly. Data control language.
Yep.
That's where we can control who has access to the house, what rooms they can go into, what they can do in those rooms.
Shit, Trev.
Can they rearrange the furniture? Or are they just allowed to look?
Or are they just, like you said, just allowed to look?
Exactly. Everyone.
Like a museum,
Yeah. You don't want everyone messing with the exhibits.
Right.
So in our library database, this is where we would say, okay, librarians have permission to add new books, maybe even delete books if they need to.
Right.
But the general public, they can only read information about books.
Right.
They can search for them. They can see the details, but they can't actually make changes to the database.
Right. Exactly.
So that's DCL in a nutshell.
So DDL defines the structure. DML lets us manipulate the data.
And DCL adds that security layer to protect it all.
Exactly.
And I think understanding that key difference between those three is really crucial to really understanding how SQL works.
Yeah, it's like the very basics that you need to know.
And how to effectively manage your databases.
Totally. It's like, you got the architect, you got the interior designer, and you've got the security guard, all playing their parts.
All working together.
Yeah, to make sure the house is built and maintained properly.
Exactly.
Yep.